All right, so welcome to another session of Excel tutorial. So today we will be talking about what if analysis in Excel. What if analysis is one of the most important feature of a data analyst. So if you want to thrive as a data analyst in a company, you need to understand what if analysis. So what do we mean by what if analysis? So what we mean by what if analysis is a feature that allows you to change some values so that it can affect the final result of a particular value in a cell. So it's just as if you are assuming something, you are changing an assumption, like what will happen if this particular quantity of a product changes? What will happen if we increase our revenue? What will happen if we reduce our expenses? On and on like that. What if analysis is always needed so that we will not be changing inputs manually. In this tutorial, I would like to show you using this financial input on how to use scenario manager. So this short data is about someone who borrowed a loan of $2 million, as you can see here. The rate is at 20% and he or she must pay within the next 10 years. So that means he's paying it monthly. So any result that we are generating here is a monthly payment. All right. So the formula we are going to use here will be the PMT. That is the payment. So we want to know how much this person will be paying monthly. All right. So let's now move to our result. All right. So we have equals to PMT. So what is the rate? The rate is the percentage you are using to pay back. So, and normally when you are calculating it, you know that when you borrow a certain amount of money, they calculate it periodically. For instance, they can ask you to pay every 2 years, every month. But for PMT, we are paying it every month. We assume that we want to be paying it monthly. Now, the rate here will be divided by 12 months. Then, what about the term? How many months, how many years will the person pay the loan? Now, we are going to pick this term. Now, multiply by 12 months. Now, what is the present value? So the present value is 2 million. We need to use a negative so that it can generate a positive result, because the person has not yet paid. If it generated a negative result, it means that perhaps the person has already paid the loan amount. So this one, the person hasn't really paid, and we need to generate this. So the person will be paying $38,651.13. Now let's now assume that in this scenario manager, we want to check what if the rate, at any point in time your rate can increase. So you need to understand that, or maybe they now gave you a chance to pay within 5 years. So what if, as a person, as the loaner, you need to know how much you will use to pay, maybe if you pay within 5 years or 20 years. All right, so we need to go to the data tab, then move to what if analysis and click on scenario manager. Now, something about what if analysis is that when you start working on a particular sheet, it stays there except you have decided to remove it. So this scenario manager, we're going to add some assumptions. We're going to add some input value so that we will know how much we are going to pay back if our rate increases from 20% to 25%. So let's add the current rate. the current rate. So the current rate here is 20%, right? So we are going to pick the rate here and we are going to click on OK. So we are not changing anything here yet. Are you getting me? So we are just going to pick the next option. So we're going to add another one again, which is future rate. So we are still on D5, which we picked earlier. So we are going to go to the next click and we're going to change it to, let's assume they want to change it to 25%. So that will be 0.25%. So when we click this, now we have the current rate and we have the future rate. So it's the future rate that we're actually looking at. Now we can even add more. We can even add more. What if we want to add 40, let's say 40%, which might not really be possible, but let's still check. Yeah, so we write here 0.40, then we click OK. So let's start analyzing it. Now in this scenario manager, I've created 3 scenarios, right? I've created the one for 25%, I've created the one for 40% if it is possible. Now before we can even see what is happening here, what if, let me remove this first. If I go here and I say 40%, you can see that my result has changed. But we will not be doing that all the time. We won't be doing it all the time, like changing the cells all the time for our result to be seen. Now, the next thing for us to do is to click the scenario manager. So since I've created some values, right? Now we're going to go to this field. If we are on this current rate, if we show it, yes, it's not actually changing because it's still the current rate. Now let's go to the future rate. What will happen? Now you can see the next one is 25%. It has changed. Now the person will pay this amount, which is so huge. So what about 40%? Let's show it. Now you can see that this has also changed to another result. So you can see as we input different as we added different cells, different numbers or different values, this is changing. So that is the importance of scenario manager. All right, so let's move to goal seek. For goal seek, now what do you want to check in this goal seek? So for goal seek, we want to check for the total number of years we need to pay this loan. Now, what if I have the money, right? I have like $100,000 to pay. How many years will it take me to pay the $100,000? So the set cell here will be this cell. And we want to change the value to $100,000. Like I have the money. Like I don't even need to pay 67,995, right? So how many years will it take me? So I'm going to click on this year, right? The term that I'm going to use to pay. Then I click it. And how many years will it take me? It will take me about 3 years to pay this. Although yes, it's in decimal, but it will take me about 3 years. So if you round it up, we say that it will take you about 3 years to pay, which is fair enough. So you can see that that is my goal. So my goal now is to be paying the 100,000 monthly so that I can finish paying it because the rate is high. And right now I have the money. All right, so I forgot that we didn't change this on the scenario manager. So you can still go back and change it back to the what? To the current rate. All right. So the last one here is the data table. And in this data table, we can generate different scenarios using this result. So now in this data table, we want to list like different percentage or different rates that we can use to pay this money. Now we're going to put equals to, we're going to put our formula here, right? So this our formula, don't forget, is on the column axis because we are generating it this way, vertically. So we're going to list like 40%. Remember that we did that too. We're going to put 30%. We're going to put 10%. We're even going to use 50%. You get. So now I want to use this to know how much I will pay if I have this different percentage or different rates. Now, before you can choose your data table, you have to pick this, then go to your what if analysis and click on data table. So this is when this will show you. Now, you can see we have row input cell and we have column input cell. Now, don't forget that your row is in the horizontal axis, while your column is in the vertical axis. Now, don't forget, remember that we are generating these results. These special spaces that you are looking at, they are vertical. So it's like we have the column input cell, not the row. So in the column input cell, we are going to click that thing that we are referring to. Remember that we want to check the rate. Now you are going to this thing is like cloning. You are going to clone this rate into this column input cell so that it can generate the answers for you. Now I'm going to pick this 20% so that Excel can know that, or Excel will know that I am talking about the percentage, the rates of the money that I'm going to pay, right? So when I click OK, as you can see, I have the rate here for the column input cell. So what about the row input cell? Let's check for the row. So now let's put our results here. And let's move to this place. So we want to see at the rate of 5. No, I don't want to see percentage. I want to see 5. Okay, don't worry. I want to see 4 years, 5 years, 8 years, and 10 years, right? So I'm going to change this into numbers, just numbers. So I'm going to reduce it. All right, so now this is for the what? For the row, right? So you can see that this is in the row. So I'm going to pick this. When we go to data, what if analysis, data table. So the row input cell will be the 10. So don't forget that 5, 4, 5, 8, 10 add years, right? So I'm going to click OK. And it's going to give me the amount I'm going to pay within 5 years, 4 years, 5 years, 8 years, and 10 years. So that is all about what if analysis. I want you to always practice what if analysis. Most times, some of these things can be confusing, but you only need to continue to practice every time. So as a data analyst, don't forget, you are not only learning because your friend is learning data analysis. You need to have your own goal. There is a purpose and there is a reason why you are learning this course. But then, thank you for watching this video.